If you seriously believe the 13% of the population and 50% of the crime, you need to get fact-checked, and I'm about to do it to you. In 2016, white people committed 70% of the convicted crime, and black people only committed 27%. Then in 2017, white people committed 68% of the reported crime, and black people only committed 26% of it. And in 2024, white people committed 53% of the reported crime, while black people only committed 25%. So this narrative on 13% of the population, 50% of the crime is wrong. You know who actually commits 50% of the crime? White people. But guess what stat black people are 13% of the population and 50% in? Exonerations. You know, when they're wrongly convicted. All you're doing by spreading this fake fact is allowing more people to profile and be racist towards black people. You know what's the highest percentage of people who are victims of white people? Black people. And if you look at all the shootings, guess who are the shooters? White dudes. So let's all think long and hard on who actually commits 50% of the crime.
This conservative mom is finding out the hard way. Rachel is a Republican from North Carolina. She's a mom to a severely disabled son named David. He can't walk, talk, eat on his own, or see well. He needs constant care, medical equipment, therapies, and surgeries just to survive. And Medicaid pays for all of it, including a wage for Rachel so she can take care of David at home. But now, you could probably guess, after voting for a party that's been cutting Medicaid for years, she's realizing those cuts are hitting her family now. She voted to take Medicaid away from other disabled people, never thinking the GOP would take it away from her son. Federal funding is being cut thanks to Trump's policies. North Carolina is cutting even more. And services like the one that pays her, David's therapists, and his doctors are all facing an over 10% pay cut. Even bigger losses are coming down the road with a projected $1.1 billion in reductions. She wrote, Medicaid is David's village. Hey, Rachel, why'd you vote to burn it down then? In the same opinion piece that she wrote, Fishing for Sympathy, she says, I have a pen, and you have a phone, a voice, and a vote. David has none of those things. If you still believe that your dollars should go to care for people who can't care for themselves, then you have a moral responsibility to charity. Medicaid is that charity. If you're a conservative, the absolute last things you should be talking about are charity and morality. The administration you literally voted in is the complete opposite of having great morals and being charitable. Rachel, you voted for the politician that vowed to get rid of the programs that you and your family depend on. What a moron. You voted for a political party that sees David as nothing more than a budget problem. Some of the last people that Republicans ever want to help are people like David. She never thought the cuts would affect her family, but now they are. David doesn't have a vote, but she did, and she voted to support people cutting him off. Now I hope you enjoy giving your son the life that you voted for.
My God, today. If it is not another beautiful day in fucking Zamunda, bitch, I don't know what it is, honey. So here we are yet again. A cis-hetero conservative white woman voted for Trump, thinking that her vote would not impact her because she is cis-hetero, conservative, and white. And lo and behold, she has a special needs child that requires almost round-the-clock care. And she never thought that her vote would bite her in her ass. Because every time I say this presidential election, the last one, was about racism, bigotry, hatred, and more harm to anybody that ain't white, y'all called me a lie. White women always vote against their own best interest because they think that maintaining and gatekeeping the patriarchy is going to protect them. I mean, y'all do know who the fuck got elected and how he feel about women, right? Of course not. Now her baby has to suffer because she thought her vote would hurt anybody that ain't white. Imagine that. But we kept saying, why y'all ain't listening to black women? Why y'all ain't listening to black women? Black women are the only demographic in the United States of America that has never had complete autonomy of our bodies, and our voices are always suppressed. You never question why? Because it is the responsibility of black women, baby, to keep our finger on the pulse of the United States of America. Because we know any changes in policy and law, black folk are going to be the first to suffer. You gotta love it when a plan backfires. And again, hear me. I hate that her baby has to suffer because she chose racism, bigotry, hatred over fucking humanity. Oops! Good luck next time, ho. But that is all, beloveds. Y'all have a day and shit, and I shall find more beautiful days in fucking Zamunda. I'm so proud to be black. I don't know what to do. That's because we have a sense of humanity. I know. And we've been trying to tell these motherfuckers. That is all y'all have today. Love it when a plan backfires. He the fuck he, bitches. He the fuck he.
Black people, just get over it. Like, slavery was a long time ago. All right? Why can't they just move on? Well, this is sort of precious coming from people who set off fireworks every July 4th. Because that's some old shit too, right? Like Independence Day, that didn't happen last week, right? We didn't break away from the British last Thursday. That's some old shit. But we're still celebrating that. So when it's stuff that makes us feel good, we love it. When it's stuff that makes us feel better than others, superior, like we're the greatest people in the greatest country ever struck off in the forehead of God Almighty, oh, we'll remember that forever. We just don't like the stuff that brings us up a little short, makes us look a little less than superior, maybe not quite as good as we'd like to believe. If you don't understand why the past affects the present, particularly around issues like enslavement, putting aside the inheritance of wealth and the lack thereof, part of which is certainly an explanation for why currently the median white wealth is 15 times the median African American wealth and 11 to 12 times the median Latino wealth. Certainly that has something to do with history, who had access to resources and who didn't. But putting aside that, let's just understand something. The only reason Donald Trump is president right now is because of a little thing called the Electoral College, which was put in place by folks. See, we got this revisionist history that we've been spinning for the last couple of months about the Electoral College. Oh, you know, it was put in there to prevent tyranny. For real, you think? Do you really think that? Because I don't think that. Right? That might have been one of the things that folks were concerned about, but it was also put in because folks like the folks in Virginia, in the bigger slaveholding states, right, didn't want direct democracy or anything even remotely like it because it would have hurt them, because so much of their population was not enfranchised, right? So much of their population in some areas, 40% or over half of the people in some of those slaveholding states were what? Disenfranchised, counted as 3/5 of a human being, not considered people. And if you had anything remotely resembling direct democracy, those states would have been harmed by that. So in fact, the Electoral College was in part a compromise with slaveholding states, states who were dependent upon enslavement as a mechanism of economic development so as to improve their political position vis-a-vis non-slaveholding states. So if you don't understand how slavery, because this is the point, right? Even if you don't think racism was key to Donald Trump's own campaign, which, you know, suggests to me that you might have been asleep for the last several months, even if you believe that, understand that racism in the 1700s, white supremacy embedded in the structure of the country at the founding of the country is most definitely implicated in his election, because without the obeisance to the Electoral College, without that compromise, we know he would not be president right now. So that is why we have to think about the past, and that is why the past affects the present. See,